Hello, and welcome to Metachemistry. This is episode 130, and we're back with a Winner's Circle segment where we take a look at a major event, typically an ITS satellite, and we interview their winner to kind of impart their wisdom and talk about the event and things they learned and kind of how they got there. So hopefully you all can replicate those results at home. And for this episode, we have Ben on with us, who just recently won Arizona Armageddon. So, Ben, thank you so much for jumping on. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, so Arizona Armageddon and with Next Wave, which I'm sure is going to be extra exciting for people. It's kind of the new kid on the block, the first
Fun fact shit.
Sectorial in a bit. Yeah, I've been playing them a bit myself, and they're really strange, but I kind of like that they don't feel quite as straightforward from a list building perspective in particular,
For sure.
where, you can see people like trying different things out, and it doesn't feel like there are wrong answers. It's just like, oh, I was building this way, but this person came up with something wildly different that I didn't really consider. And so I think that exploratory phase is really fun.
Yeah.
So before we get started, though, we do want to give a quick thank you to Mo Games, sponsor of Metachemistry. And if you'd like to grab some Infinity goodies, you can find them at mo-games.com. And as part of their sponsorship of the show, any of our paid level patrons will get a 10% discount code to that store. And whether you're part of our Patreon or not, you can just jump on our Discord and be entered in to win a $40 coupon code each month. To be entered for that, you just click the roll for the giveaways, and then you'll need a US address for Mo to ship to. Because what's better than games? Mo Games. So, again, with us, I have Ben and Ian. And Ben, your ITS name as well, because I know sometimes people are better known by their ITS names than their actual names.
On ITS, I'm dispensable.
Yeah, because I remember when someone had posted the rankings, I saw that. Like, okay, I know Joel, um, Rattler NXT, and like, oh wait, but I don't know who Dispensable is. So, Ben, why don't you kind of tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey in Infinity and maybe to Infinity and beyond?
Yeah.
Am I allowed to make that
So
joke?
who knows? Um, so Infinity is my first real tabletop game.
Hmm.
My brother got me into it back in around 2021, and I played
Gotcha.
for a while just online because
Hmm.
that was around when everything was happening.
Right,
Um,
right.
yeah. Started mostly with Shazvasti and Bakunin, and have since branched out through Vanilla Combined, Morats, did a brief foray into Steel Failings, and now I'm on Next Wave, and I'm enjoying Next Wave.
Nice. Very cool. So, what kind of drew you to Next Wave to begin with?
I mean, isn't the answer always dinosaurs?
I mean,
We're
I figured, but I had to ask, right?
we're playing Next Wave for the dinosaurs,
It's kind of true. Yeah. I mean,
and one of
plasma,
my lists shows it.
dinosaurs, and yeah, exactly. Very cool. And, obviously you played most of Combined Army already, so it makes it a little bit easier. Well, I guess Onyx, I didn't hear Onyx on that list, so maybe it wasn't
You heard
that much
correctly.
crossover.
Yeah, I have not touched Onyx yet.
I was going to say, they have some, but not much else goes into Next Wave from other Combined Army sectorials.
Yeah, especially with the extra nerf.
Yeah, yeah. With the retooling, Combined Army, yeah, that's changed a fair bit. It wasn't all negative. I really like the updates to the EI aspects because
Yes.
I enjoy Combined Army's top end being top end, and raising the floor makes it a little bit more challenging to play in that top end space. But if they're bringing it, those should be good pieces that should be well worth their points.
Yeah. And I think that I feel like most of the changes are good for the state of play. It's just I'm
Mhm.
sad that my Icadrons aren't silly anymore.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I was a little surprised to see that, especially because, Next Wave, we've talked about it from some of our impressions and some other players, how high the points floor is for the faction. And then that getting raised at least another 4 points is a little rough from those Icadrons,
Yeah, for sure.
but not insurmountable.
Clearly. I've
Exactly.
I've
Yeah,
seen a lot of really fun lists come out.
for sure. So, Arizona Armageddon. Can you run us through the event, the dates that took place, and what the lineup was, and then anything that kind of jumps out at you about the event or things that you found interesting during that satellite?
So Arizona Armageddon was actually my first satellite. I believe it
Nice.
runs the first weekend of November every year, but don't quote me on that. Um, Runs in Phoenix. We had 30 something people this year, and
Nice.
overall, it was just a really great time. Will definitely return. Of course, it's local to me, so that's
That
not saying
helps.
as much.
But hey, you're getting out there, supporting your local satellite. I mean, that's important too.
Yeah,
Traveling can be tricky sometimes, so at least you
yeah.
can make it to those, right?
I'll have to figure out traveling at some point, but so far, local is good enough.
But yeah, so first satellite played, first satellite victory. It's a
Yep.
good streak so far. So congrats.
It's time to retire, right? Just
Right, yeah.
take my
Undefeated.
perfect record.
Yeah, that's awesome though. So, what was the lineup of missions for Arizona Armageddon?
So we had crossing lines, battleground, hardlock, corporate appropriation, and cutthroat.
So, a very aggressive lineup overall, sounds like.
Um, when you say aggressive, do you mean just playstyle wise?
I would say that a lot of it kind of forces you to get onto your opponent's side of the table. Like you can't like hunkering down doesn't really benefit you. So yeah, I would say like from a playstyle
That's
perspective.
an interesting stance because I'd agree on for sure crossing lines and cutthroat that
Mhm,
you're there to kill stuff.
mhm.
But the other three I actually played relatively defensively.
Okay, interesting. Well, yeah. Then before we get into the games themselves, then why don't we talk about your list so we have some context and kind of like how you got there? Like what did you do to get ready for the event? How early did you get started? And what kind of led to the choices that we'll see in these lists?
So heading into Armageddon, I was putting off deciding on a faction because I saw that Next Wave was coming and I was really hoping that I'd be able to play them. So I put it off for
Sure.
a while. Things got released and I eventually decided that I was going to play it even if I had to proxy, but my luckily my model has made it in time.
Nice.
Um,
That helps.
Ended up getting three-ish games in on Next Wave before the tournament,
That's pretty good.
and one of the I got one practice game on one of my lists, and the other was brand new.
Sure,
But
sure.
like looking at the lineup, the at least my thought process in terms of planning out my lists was that for Cutthroat, I wanted Achilles because
Mhm. Pretty easy choice.
it's a
Mhm.
pretty easy choice. So one
Yeah.
list was going to be Achilles. Messed around with that and ended up building out a list that I liked for that, and then looking at the rest of the missions, decided that it would work reasonably for crossing lines as well.
Mhm.
And then with the other three missions, I was looking to play them defensively, so I built my other list all on that side of things. So, I mean, just Do you want me to just start looking at my overall lists?
Yeah.
Sure, let's go ahead and pick one of those and start with that.
Yeah, so my Achilles list is limited insertion. Um, I've got a contrabandolero killer hacker in the second group on its own, hidden deployment to stay under the 10 order cap. And then group one is a bunch of harbingers sitting around with Teucer and Patroclus, Achilles, and a gearhead with two puzzlers.
Sure, yeah,
So
yeah.
I've got pretty reasonable hacking. I have deployable repeaters on the puzzlers. I've got pictures in a link off the gearhead hacker and Achilles, of course. So
Yeah?
defensively, I'm really relying on Teucer as an arrow piece and then the puzzlers in the midfield to just gum up any attempts to push forward.
Mhm.
And then aggressively, I've got a couple of choices between Achilles, Patroclus, and Teucer. But
Yeah, one thing that kind of stands out to me here is the Wraith. I haven't really seen them get much play, either in my lists or in some other people that I've seen playing them. What were your thoughts there, and did you feel like it performed for you with what you wanted it to do?
so I really liked Wraiths. Um,
Hmm.
they performed probably a little less well than I'd like, but still well enough that I will keep playing them. I mean,
Hmm.
they pretty reasonably are going to be shooting on 15s, and they're really easy to link,
Sure.
is basically where I'm at with them. I mean, they are delicate, so they don't really want to stand on arrow, but they can do work. Multi marksman is a decent gun.
Yeah, I would agree. I just ran the Stinger's multi-marksman rifle last night, and it worked out pretty reasonably.
Yeah, I will say that the guns outside of 24 Next Wave are a tiny bit limiting.
Yeah, yeah, they are.
Mhm. Yeah, especially for like heavy hitters. Like I feel like for those sorts of ranges, other than like the Ironside or the Juggernaut, for instance, I actually really like the AP Thunderbolt on the Blackheart and the Skyhound both help with that. But yeah, as far as like
Yeah,
your big heavy duty weapons like them and Tusser is kind of most of what you have to operate with.
yeah. No, I was hoping that Patroclus with 3 burst and a special heavy rocket launcher would be good enough, but he did not do super well, to be honest, throughout all of my games.
Yeah, he feels like he should be a very solid gunfighter, but I feel like he's a little fragile and he's just BS-13 without any other benefits other than
Yeah,
like he's always in cover, but generally you're always trying to be in cover with any piece that's just easier.
yeah, I feel like Nanoscreen seems a lot better until you realize that he's not really running up the board the way Achilles with a plasma rifle is.
Mhm.
Cheskin's running straight at things. Patroclus is kind of hanging back and shooting at them. So,
Right. But yeah, other than that, no engineer. I guess that doesn't really matter in this list. There's not really any techno organic stuff, and everything else is vitality.
yep.
Well, I guess the gearheads, the other
Yeah.
gearhead. But yeah, it's not
Yeah.
really recovering troops, but puzzlers do seem really good. I brought one in my list last night. There was just never an opportunity that felt like it was better than something else I was trying to do because where it was already pretty well suppressed.
Mhm.
Yeah. No, I was when I first saw them, I didn't realize that they'd updated surprise attack to not work on templates, and I thought they were
Yeah,
going
that's
to
a big
be
deal.
ridiculous. But now they're just good.
Right, right. Yeah, and the Contrabandolero on its own is something that the idea was just to move it in later, or that you'd be playing Battlegrounds and you'd just end of the game move it into a zone, or what was the plan there?
So it's somewhat to move it in later if needed. I also, in some circumstances, would be willing to bet on one order being enough to kill the one hacker that I'm worried about, because the other group is putting down the repeater, so one order is hopefully enough, and worst case, they end up with a hacker sitting in a repeater with two normal hackers and a killer hacker on the other side of it.
Sure. Yeah, that's fair. And one other thing that I just find like kind of interesting before we move on, or even a few of other things that you want to go over, is
You
Achilles'
you hit
plasma
the
rifle.
contrabandolero for thing.
Gotcha. Okay. Oh, I'm also kind of curious. Of the number of times you played this list, did you have anyone ask like how many groups you have to
I did not
reveal?
have anyone ask that.
Okay, interesting. I've kind of gotten in the habit of asking that, so I was just kind of curious how prolific that is.
Yeah, I feel like
But
that's the
Achilles,
type of thing that varies from meta to meta, whether that's, like, typical and if it's even, like, standard accepted.
sure. And then Achilles' plasma rifle, not AP Spitfire.
Yep.
And is that just because the plasma like generally hits harder?
Yeah, having blast templates to ignore cover is really nice, and 2 saves per hit is nice. Um, I do really like having an X visor on
For
something
sure.
as durable as Achilles, because I only did it once, but putting him in suppressive is just
Yeah.
a monster because he's always in cover,
Mhm.
always shooting on 12s if they're in cover. Like, it's
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah, it's pretty solid, and he's not very easy to shift. So yeah, it does seem fun. I do. I mean, I feel like both Achilles feel pretty solid, but it's really fun to be able to run around with plasma,
Yeah.
Plasma's
which you
always
could
the
do
right
it,
answer.
right? Yeah. And what missions did you play the Achilles list in? And Cutthroat for sure. And did you end up running it in
Cutthroat
any
and
others?
crossing lines.
And crossing lines. Yeah, I could see puzzlers being pretty obnoxious in crossing lines.
Yeah.
I see a lot of things being obnoxious in crossing lines, honestly. I'm interested to go over that game in particular.
We'll get there. The
Yeah,
crossing lines is
and
a weird mission.
it does feel really weird, for sure. I've only played it once, but yeah, it was kind of strange.
It's a fun mission.
List,
I liked it.
yeah, I didn't dislike it, but it does make me like a little uneasy. It feels like some factions just have like exponentially better tools than others for those sorts of missions, but
For sure.
you know, it just kind of depends, I suppose. So yeah, and then the the dino list.
Defensive dinos.
Yeah.
We've got 4 steel jaws with combi turrets, um, Patroclus and Drakios to fire team with them. And then the other group is 2 Harbinger Wraith duos and an Ironside. So
Okay. And
this
so
is,
Patroclus and Drakios, those are two three-member teams?
yep,
Gotcha.
because you can only take 2 steel jaws per.
Oh, for both? I thought you could take more in a dragon team.
Still just 2.
Okay. I've never tried to take that many, to be
Yeah.
fair.
I was
That's
slightly
good to know.
disappointed that I couldn't pile all 4 steel jaws into
Mhm.
one core and just run up the board.
Would be pretty funny.
No, but, like, the whole game plan with this one was to be pretty defensive in that, like, I move, especially if I had first turn, I would move into the
Mhm.
midfield, drop a bunch of turrets all over the place, and then keep my steel jaws on the front end of things. And steel jaws
Right.
are, if you don't have the right tools to deal with them, just really hard to kill.
Yeah. Yeah, they take I feel like they can absorb a lot of orders. Pretty disproportionate their points cost for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And then group 2, the Wraiths and Harbingers kind of just chilled for the most part. The
Mhm.
Wraiths were kind of backup arrow pieces, and then the Ironside, of course, was the long range, clear some arrow pieces gun.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it's a pretty simple list.
Yeah, and so the Ironside not being with Drakios and company, mostly just because you planned on keeping him further back?
Yeah, it was mostly for that. I think if I did this again, I would probably consider swapping Drakios into Steeljaws over so that I have the option of running it as a core with the Ironside if I wanted. But again, I didn't really playtest this one at all. So,
Totally fair. Yeah, it sounds like things were going in mostly blind. I mean, the faction had been out for less than a month by the time the event came around.
yep.
So, yeah. So how was that in the limited playtesting that you had? Were there Did you stick with Next Wave because you just found that a number of these things just kind of ended up clicking with you and you want to, like, yep, this is definitely something I want to play for a bit? Or was it just like the theme was cool enough and the dinosaurs are just sweet enough models that you're like, all right, well, I want to do that regardless? And
So it was mostly the dinos, to be honest. And also
fair.
just the cool new faction. I played all my other stuff at least a bit. So
Yeah.
gotta stick with the cool new shiny stuff. Um,
Yeah.
I'll say that seeing as the Achilles list was the only one that I had practice on, my one
Hmm.
practice game, I kind of got stomped
Yeah.
by actually another player who was at the tournament. Um,
Hmm. Hmm.
Jumped Tariq up into a really weird roof that I wasn't expecting and like murdered half my list turn 1.
Oh, wow.
But still ended up
Did you
taking
play
it,
them?
and I didn't see them in the tournament.
Oh, okay. I was just about to ask, like, did you get your rematch?
Nope.
Fair enough. Okay. Well, very cool. Well, then, why don't we start off with day one? And how did the event start? What was the first mission?
So we started with crossing lines, so trying to control the dead zones and starting with up to 75 points across the halfway point.
Yeah.
And back to what you said earlier, I would agree that some factions have tools that just do this better. Um, Starting with Achilles all the way up one order away from shooting things is really nice.
Yep. That tracks.
Like that mission, I ended 10-0, and I think I still had a full 300 points.
Oh,
Like
wow. And who did
That
you
Achilles
play
just
into?
is quite a victory.
it
Yeah.
was against OSS.
Mm-hmm.
Achilles ran in, did a ton of damage turn 1, and then sat in suppressive. And it didn't help that, like, throughout the entire tournament, I had pretty good dice rolls. But my opponent
Gotcha.
tried throwing some things at him, and between Tusar on Overwatch and Achilles being Achilles, it just didn't work out.
Fair enough. Yeah, it didn't sound like it. So it was just a kill. It had to be only a kill. Oh no, you could fit a little bit more. You could fit
You
one
can
puzzler up
fit
with him.
you can fit exactly one puzzler up there,
Yeah.
which is pretty sweet.
Yeah.
It would be even sweeter if Achilles got techno organic and you could,
Right. Yeah. And then
but that'd
repair
be a
him with
little
puzzler. Yeah.
silly.
I mean, you could bring a medtech cyberplug and get away with it.
You could, but I'm not sure that you can actually do that in Next Wave for the most
Just
part.
points wise?
Yeah, I think MedTech is a little too expensive, and the puzzlers are already not the cheapest
Yeah.
thing to bring.
Yeah, the
They're
Sartroids of both varieties have been kind of weird for me, where it's like I want to try them, but everything's already so expensive. So to have points that aren't contributing orders feels a little awkward.
Yeah, it's that weird balance where they aren't contributing orders, but you also don't lose orders if you sacrifice them.
Hmm.
Goes both
Yeah,
ways.
fair. So yeah, so pretty sweeping victory in crossing lines. But anything in particular that stood out to you, or interesting things that you kind of learned during that game, or
Like that was a not really. That was a pretty straightforward hit things with Achilles until they die kind of mission.
fair? I had a feeling, but I had to check.
It's worth checking.
Yeah.
Um, the next mission we had Battleground, so swapped my list to the defensive dinos.
Hmm.
Still zone control, but I don't know. There wasn't quite the need for aggression in my mind.
Okay.
So that one played against Starco,
Okay. Sure.
and it was it was a weird game. Um, I think we were both playing a little defensively, and it ended up that I just moved up more because the dinos want to move into the midfield, so I was able to
Yeah.
take the zones. My opponent had an anaconda sitting on a roof in cover,
Sure.
just staring at the whole board, and it was I spent a large number of orders trying to do anything to that anaconda, and it just would not move.
Yeah, they're really durable now.
Yeah, that was interesting to play against. But then it couldn't really push up because he didn't really have amazing tools to put all of my armed turrets on negatives. So
Gotcha.
he was not super efficient clearing the turrets. Whereas at least one of the other opponents I had watched me put 4 turrets up and said, okay, I'll spend 2 orders and put all of them down.
That's pretty good.
How have you
Yeah.
been finding using the turrets since you can't reload them now? Is it obviously you're kind of leaning into it? Has it been going well?
So this is actually the first time that I've put turrets out
Mhm.
since they changed that. I personally, I was of the opinion that the way to fix turrets was to make them you deploy them the same way you do mines in contact with your model.
Sure.
And then you can't throw them all over the place really easily.
Yeah,
I think making it only 1 for the entire game is a little rough.
I agree.
But
Yeah. Overcorrection there in my mind too.
but I can see why they did it because when it was a
Oh yeah.
thing, that was real oppressive. So it was probably better that they overcorrected than leaving it as is.
That I agree with. Yeah, it definitely shouldn't have stayed as it was, but I think that it was a little too heavy-handed of a change, but is what it is and doesn't seem to be changing anytime soon, so
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like part of it is it doesn't feel like you're paying much on the steel jaws. I think it's 1 point more than the viral mine version, and I guess you lose sensor, is that right? I think you
Yeah,
lose
you lose
sensor also.
sensor, which, like, my lists, I wasn't super worried about
Mhm.
camo or hidden deployment.
That's what
Uh,
the boarding pistols are for anyway.
yeah. No, the I do really like that you can link a sensor steel jaw with the juggernaut and
Yeah,
just
that's a fun one.
make sure that there aren't going to be any ninjas popping out to one shot your poor little S7 dino.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how likely that was happening to begin with, but it's nice to not worry about it.
I feel like I always worry moving tags into the midfield that there are lots of things that can pop out and cause problems. Like,
Fair.
even puzzlers are also just
Mhm.
a menace to tags.
Yeah, absolutely.
But this list, like, there isn't anything that's really that worried about stuff popping out of hidden. So
Fair enough.
that's not really a loss. And then viral mines would probably be nice, but combi turrets were interesting enough, especially given that I was trying to go
Mhm.
for a defensive playstyle. Dropping 4 turrets and saying a third of your first turn is going to be clearing turrets is just a safe option.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, and it definitely feels better than, like, if you had just tacked on if they had a different profile that was the identical to the sensor profile, and it was just 3 points more to have a turret, I feel like that probably wouldn't, be as useful. Like, when you're only
Yeah,
paying 1 point more, that feels a lot better.
for sure.
But, yeah, so the tag basically could hold its zone, and that was kind of all the headway that Starco was able to make in that match, it sounds like?
Yeah, that was, for the most part, how things worked out. There are some things that pushed up into zones, but nothing that really contested them by the end.
Gotcha, fair enough. Did, Raoul Spectre make an appearance?
Nope.
Fair enough. I was gonna say, like, it's
Or
a really
actually,
good
wait.
piece.
No, sorry. He did, but he failed his drop. I almost
Gotcha.
forgot that because he did try to drop on my Harbinger Lieutenant.
Oh, sure.
That
Yeah, yeah.
thankfully ended up back on the other side of the board.
Yeah. Yeah, if, Raul gets in the backfield, he can make a mess of a lot of things.
For sure.
Alright, and then rounding out day 1.
Yep. So third mission, we had Hardlock. Um,
Mhm.
press some buttons, grab a beacon. Relatively straightforward. Good end of the day.
Yeah.
Um, so again, game plan: move up, drop turrets, let them deal with it. Ended up working pretty well. I was playing against military orders. Yeah, and it was actually interesting. He, instead of stripping orders, actually started tick belong in suppression.
Okay. You can
So
kinda see
that
that.
was interesting to see.
Yeah.
Um, Sasha came in clutch and just ran up into zone of control to threaten the concept of a speculative EM grenade, and he ended up dodging away. So
Mm.
interesting
Yeah.
to see. Not sure how good of an idea it was. It's interesting because that one. So we had the Tick Belong, Knight of the Sepulchre, and then a core of Teutons, I believe.
Okay. So pretty chunky list.
Yeah, it was a pretty chunky list, but it just the way that it deployed on the map ended up kind of clustered so that the Sepulchre and the Take Belong were behind one building, and the core was all in one corridor. So somewhat simplified
Mm.
what I had to deal with.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, because I was
Um,
wondering, like, with Sacha moving up, how how order intensive it might be to, like, get up to a point where it can start looking at Spitfire
So
reasonably.
you would think that Sasha did, of course, roll 8-4 move on that game.
Ah, there we go. That helps.
So it happens.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like 8-4 move with climbing plus. What else happened that game? Patroclus, that was my best game with Patroclus. He just managed to keep the Teuton core down for way too long for what he is.
Were they worried about engaging him, or just he was winning
So
face-to-face rolls?
he was just winning. Like I think he knocked 2 people in my reactive.
Yeah.
So against the core team, especially against Pano, like shooting out shooting them in reactive is always exciting.
Yeah, because I was thinking like, oh well, maybe they're staying back because their primary gun was the Spitfire, and they didn't want to try and get into range through a corridor, having to eat templates that probably catch other members of the team or something. But yeah, do they
Yeah.
have a weapon to contest at a reasonable range?
So I believe. Let me look to see if what the
Because I think they can,
profiles.
because they can take a missile launcher, and I guess they have panfausts on some profiles.
Yeah, I believe it was the missile because I remember looking at that and being like, a BS -3 missile. What? No. I think that was the main gun that I was scared of, and there might have been a Spitfire. There might not have been.
Sure,
It's been a little bit.
no worries. But yeah, so it sounds like they were mostly bottled up. How uh, were you able to pick up the beacon on the first turn, or did that have to wait?
No, I think in all of the games that I've played of Hardlock, it seems like getting the beacon early is pretty rough.
It seems really hard to do. Yeah.
Yeah, like I can't remember what the old capture the flag one was, but that one it was
Ca-
more doable just
Capture and
since you didn't
protect.
have to press buttons. Yeah, that one.
Right. Yeah, there's not an extra step. But yeah, and so how did you end up scoring on that one?
That one I ended up 6-1 or 6-1. Um, I again, I was rolling really well for most of that tournament and eventually was able to just chew through most of his stuff and on the last turn just press 2 buttons, get onto the beacon. I didn't run away with it, but there wasn't enough left to knock me
To
off in
stop you.
the end.
Yeah. Makes sense. Okay. So yeah, so you're sitting there with three majors day one, it sounds like.
Uh,
And
2. Battleground, I only got 4-1.
oh, gotcha. Oh, I missed it. But yeah, so still a solid set of tournament points so far. And then day two rolls around.
Yup. Day 2, we started with corporate appropriation, which I had not played at all, I don't believe.
Yeah, it's a
Um,
neat mission.
it's interesting, and I really just enjoyed that game. Just the opponent, their army, and how everything worked out. It was lots of fun.
Yeah,
I was playing
nice.
against Ariadna, and
Okay.
I, especially with that list, I was happy that I could kind of, because normally I don't like playing into camo heavy lists. It's
Hmm.
like the whole thing is it there's enough anxiety inducing elements that's like, do I need to worry about that? Can I ignore that? Whatever. Um,
Sure.
with the dinosaur list, I kind of just ignored the existence of all of the camo markers and
Yeah.
said, if you want to reveal, reveal, I'll dodge. and I'll dodge well.
Right, yeah.
Like, he did manage to splash the Drakios link with a template on 2 occasions with a camo marker, and both times I got out with, like, 1 wound throughout the whole party because
Oh, wow.
the
What were they
dinosaurs.
getting hit with?
One of them was a tank hunter. I think it's a missile launcher?
Oh.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, yeah, just shrug
Oh,
that
is
off.
that all?
Fine.
Yeah, just again, I'm a dinosaur, I don't care.
I was thinking like a Chaucer flamethrower or something, but nope.
No, I'm dinosaurs. The second one I think was maybe a Flammenspier or something. Again, it was from across the board. That map
Yeah.
had some pretty good verticality to it, so there were some nice spots on roofs that he had camo markers in.
Mhm.
Like, I was being a little careful keeping Drakios out of sight for the most part, but
Yeah.
like shooting at the dinosaur is Mim, uh, dodge -3, and 2 wounds. And then if they manage, can't remember if they splashed Drakios both times or just the first time, but he dodges on a 17 if he's can use his Bang Bomb.
Yeah, which does help, but am I misremembering? Does it work on impact templates and just not direct templates? I thought it
It should be
was
if
templates in
you're
general, but now I'm not sure.
it should be if you're the target of a BS attack that it'll work. Or
The dodge mod does not apply against attacks made with template weapons. So any template weapon, bang
okay,
bongs don't apply to.
did they update that in N5?
No, it's always been that
No,
way.
that was when, yeah, that's when bang bongs
Really?
came out.
Huh.
How dare you?
There's a mistake.
Sham.
Gotta
No,
write in.
easy to miss. Easy to miss.
So not quite as good as I thought on him, but
Still 13s
yeah,
is reasonable.
decent for sure. So that team moving out got the scarier camo markers to reveal,
Mhm.
and then the Ironside cleared that stuff out for the most part. Other side dropping the turrets. This is the game where he just kind of walked around the corner and put them on -9. It's like
Sure.
even 3 bursts for the turret on ones doesn't really do anything. So he cleared them
Yeah.
out without really slowing down.
Yeah, that feels a little rough.
Yeah, I mean, I was also putting them like pretty much on the midline, so they work
Mhm.
perfectly. They're combi rifle turrets. If I really wanted to use them to the maximum efficacy, I'd be putting them a bit closer. But at least my playstyle was just they're gonna slow them down. It was good
Sure.
enough, and it worked out most of my games. Overall, oh yeah, that game. So I managed to grab. I'm not gonna say if it was my prototype or his because I can never keep track of which is which. I grabbed the
Yeah,
prototype
break
I'm supposed to be
yours,
keeping
take theirs.
alive
Yeah,
and managed to get it back to the back of my deployment zone
nice.
and somewhat got lucky with regards to the fact that he spent a moderate amount of time trying to clear my Sasha because she's the only one who had decharges going into his turn.
I see.
Um, I was lucky in that he didn't realize that Patroclus Holomask, new faction, he didn't know that there was a
Mhm.
holomasked anti-material weapon on the board.
I was about to ask, like, yeah, were you taking advantage of that? And yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, no, my again, I people weren't really familiar with Next Wave, so I got away with more than I otherwise might have. But I deployed 3 Wraiths in
Mm,
all 3 games, and one of them was linked to Steeljaws, so
sure. So yeah, today that probably wouldn't fly.
probably not. I was good. I failed like something like 8 whip rolls trying to do classifieds and got none of my
Yeah.
classifieds.
Oh, brutal. Yeah, I've found that like objective punching, like coming from factions that have a lot of whip 14, 15, all of the whip 13 makes me so sad.
Yeah,
It's like, no, why can't you just be good at your job?
Absolutely not.
not
It's
allowed.
rude. And no specialist bonuses anymore. I usually would try and make sure that I had one or two of a specialist that had a bonus in previous seasons. So that helped
Yeah.
too. So I'm used to 2 dice on 17, 18. And so a single die on a 13 just makes me want to cry.
Welcome to
I
what
don't
Eh,
know
the
how
rest
people
of
take
us
that
have to
now.
put up with.
Oh, is that what
and
it's like? I'm going back.
I still remember that game that I lost because I failed 7 whip 13 rolls in a row.
Yeah,
yep,
it's gross. Just
I
feels
do like
icky.
that
Shouldn't do that.
new whatever the name is for the adaptive. Each time you fail, you get better.
Yeah, I do like
Yeah, the
that.
operational learning.
That's a cool kind of bonus to prevent some of that, or at least mitigate to a degree. But it can still
If you
happen.
have 4 orders to sit on a box trying to press it, you should be able to accomplish it, even
Yes.
Yeah.
with some idiot.
Yeah. But it doesn't show up in all the missions, which is kind of interesting. So you can still just kind of sit there waffling.
Yeah, I do wonder what the deciding factor was to them for which missions you're allowed to waffle in.
Right.
Uh,
But yeah, so for appropriation, how did that shake out then by the end of the game?
so Patroclus broke the prototype I was breaking pretty easily. Um, and then I had, again, since I, even though he cleared out the turrets in the middle pretty quick, the dinosaurs slowed him down enough that he didn't get near either prototype turn 1.
Hmm.
Turn 2, I took one, broke the other, and then can't remember if it was turn 2 or turn 3 that he dropped Van Zant in the back to try to break the prototype that I'd stolen,
Sure.
and he tried to YOLO in Berserk the prototype. I made every save on the
Yeah.
prototype.
Oh,
The things around it murdered Van Zant. The dice
yeah.
diced.
Wait, Van Zandt has anti-material? I thought he had an AP. Oh, did he get a T2 weapon now or something?
He's APT2.
APT2. Oh, okay. Okay.
It is the Ariadne way.
I mean, it is now. Yeah, there's a lot more T2 weapons now. I feel like, wasn't the Unknown Ranger the.
There's a lot more AP and T2 combo.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Like,
No,
eh.
so yeah, the Unknown Ranger kind of was the one that had like the T2 close combat weapon, and
Right.
then they've been expanding it, and so then we ended up with uh, what's his name in Tartary? Uh,
Uh, Pavel?
Pavel. Pavel was like kind of like the next like kind of character to get one, and then it's just been kind of going from there.
Gotcha. Fair enough. Anti-material it is then.
Yep.
I mean, it's cool that Van Zandt's actually scary again. Because I feel like he
Yes.
hasn't been for a while.
See, I've always been scared. I also, that game I spent the entire game scared because I think he was only showing, or with the camo and all of the mine layer and everything, I had no clue how many he actually had.
Right.
So
Sure.
I was fully convinced that he had Margot Duroc.
Yeah. Bane of my existence, too.
And Margot got better.
She did.
Why?
Drat got a little bit better too, I think, right?
What did he get?
So he
He got
got the BTS of 3 from losing immunity enhanced and going to immunity arm.
Giant dog showing up in the back line is always going to be scary.
yeah, still very good.
And then that gets us to top table cutthroat. And back with Achilles, of course.
Hmm.
Um, won the lieutenant role and went first, of course. Um,
Reasonable.
very good game. Playing against NCA. First turn, I'm playing a simple play style. Achilles runs across, kills stuff. Um,
He's also
Achilles got
supposed to not die.
yeah, Achilles got really lucky, and on on the way onto that side of the board, I cautious moved to get across. He had Maximus, so I crossed his sight line
Mm-hmm.
and just killed stuff behind him. Um, on
Hmm.
my retreat to try to stay alive, I figured I'd just take the one order and shoot at him. I should survive. I'm 3 wounds, whatever.
Sure.
Um, can't remember if I crit or what, but I did way too much damage considering I was shooting at 0 range band with X visor across the map and popped him out of his tag in one order.
Oh, wow.
That
What?
was kind of crazy. I'm just like, okay, I'm spending one order to cross this firing lane, whatever. And suddenly Max is just some guy.
3 damage. Yeah, so you're on the plasma rifle. He's on what? 13s and 12s for the armor and BTS saves.
Sounds about right.
So yeah, that's just an obscene amount of damage, even if you hit all 3 times.
Yeah, I think I hit, if I'm remembering right, I think I hit twice. And that was just kind of what the heck. Wow.
Yeah, that's wild.
But the power of plasma for you.
I guess so. Yeah, interesting. And then he was just firing back with a thunderbolt to contest or something.
He might have been dodging. He might have been dodging. He might have been shooting. It would have been probably better to dodge because Mim cover should put him at 11s to shoot, 13s to dodge. That
Yeah,
was
that's wild. And that was the lieutenant. Well, he wasn't down, so it wasn't a lieutenant kill, but that was his lieutenant, I assume.
I'm not sure if I actually no, it couldn't have been lieutenant because he didn't go into loss later on. Um, turn two, or his turn, he kind of cleared out. I'd pushed up with Patroclus and some of the harbingers up on that side of the board,
Hmm.
um, trying to clear out Max. Actually, before Achilles had his wonder shot.
Yeah.
Um, so he moved in, cleared out that little team, and I think it was also that turn that Shona Corona came through the middle of the board and just wrecked the Tusser Harbinger team.
Oh, sure. Yep, I could see that.
Was like it took a lot of orders, and she didn't. She eventually ended up getting killed, but like,
Hmm.
she did a lot of damage, and I was down to I want to say five, 5 or 6 orders going into turn two, which ended up being just enough to run Achilles back through my back line to get to the side with Maximus and finish him
Hmm.
off. Maximus
Sure.
was his key op. Achilles was my key op.
Gotcha.
Um, so when I killed him there, I secured pretty much the key op. I was definitely going to have killed more with my key op, and I was hoping I'd be able to keep Achilles alive and keep those points as well.
Hmm.
Um, had like one order to run Achilles back away from danger, and then Pano came out and hacked. Like, what's up with that?
Yep. And they can do that for sure,
Uh,
especially Neoterra. I mean, I guess a lot of Pano kind of got things spread
a
out.
lot of
Neoterra Orders does too.
yeah, a lot of Pano has some kind of good hacking these days.
Yeah.
So Achilles got hacked, isolated, mobilized, and then he didn't have quite enough orders when he was pushing up to finish Achilles off,
Hmm.
and worked out well enough. Actually, it's not just that he didn't have enough orders. That is where I was actually fully saved by my puzzlers that had been sitting in the midfield all game hidden. Uh,
Gotcha.
as he moved up a team to try to get to Achilles, and they pop out one one at a time to gum things up, get everything isolated, so that there wouldn't be enough orders to actually finish Achilles off.
Right, right.
And then it was really just stalling things out to try to keep Achilles alive. Um, he had one run at the very end to try to kill my second lieutenant since Achilles was isolated,
Hmm.
and all of the things he had near Achilles were also isolated. So spent all the orders trying to get to the other lieutenant. I passed my saves after getting shot in the back with a silenced pistol, and that was the game.
Fair enough.
uh,
Yeah.
it was a really close game. Ended 4-3.
Okay. Yeah, because did you end up snagging the NCA lieutenant?
Let's see. How did
I
scoring
guess,
work?
yeah, 3 for more army points, 3 for
So
more lieutenants, 1 for Keops, and
so
3 for
neither of us
killing
got
more orders.
the lieutenant's points. So
Mm,
I
okay.
was 3 3 for killing more with Keop, 1 for killing the Keop. He had 3 for killing more army points,
Gotcha.
which the army points were
Yeah,
actually
pretty
closer
tight.
than I thought. I thought that I was going to be like 50 or so behind on army points, and it ended up being more like 15 to 20.
Okay.
So
Yeah, sounds pretty wild.
for sure.
So yeah, so end results, you ended up taking first place, of course,
Yep.
and what was that? 22 tournament points? 23? 23.
Um, I'd believe you. I'd have to check Corvosphere to confirm.
No worries. But yeah, so it sounded like a really solid victory. And so, any kind of major takeaways from that event in terms of things that have informed your play since, or things that kind of stood out to you as like, hey, this is where you kind of built this tactic or this strategy because it worked really well and you wanted to continue it moving forward, or things like that?
So talking with people afterwards, I think I did really like these lists, but
Hmm.
I think I definitely would work at getting stingers in instead of some of what I was running,
Sure.
or not stingers, rain dancers.
Oh, okay. All right. I could see that.
The I
Very
played
different
one
tool.
game since then with Drakios Rain Dancer link, and that's just feels really good to play.
Hmm. Yeah, being able to switch off between a MIM 6 or Albedo 6 unit feels pretty nice.
And the Rain Dancer is surprisingly well costed.
Hmm.
depending on the profile. In terms of takeaways from the tournament in general, I I don't know how I feel about crossing lines. I think that I'd have to play more to really get a good sense of things. It feels like some factions have really good tools to abuse going first,
Hmm.
and there isn't that much that can be done to stop that.
Sure.
Um, or at least
Yeah.
not all factions have tools to stop it. Like, sure, you can drop mutts with jammers in there defensively, but not every faction has those. You can do a number of defensive
Yeah.
things, but there are enough factions that don't have an option that it's feels weird as a mission.
Yeah. It does seem like an awkward mission for sure.
It also it's another like I know all missions can be simplified to kill stuff and deal with the buttons later, pretty much,
Sure.
but it feels especially killy.
That event.
Um, somewhat the event, somewhat the mission. Yeah, crossing lines, like the scoring is at the end. The buttons aren't that hard to press. You don't have three class fights to deal with.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I was saying like it seems like sort of aggression favored when you mentioned the lineup because you have obviously cutthroat is murder a bunch of stuff.
Yep.
Crossing lines is mostly murder stuff because that's how you generally hold zones. Battlegrounds is again holding zones usually by killing stuff out of zones. Um, Things like that. Corporate appropriation is probably less so comparatively. Like you don't have to do a lot of direct interaction necessarily with your opponent on that one.
Yeah,
Um,
like
and
his
Hardlock, you have to dive your opponent's defenses to get the beacon, which stuff's going to have to die.
see like y- that's how it should be played if you actually want the beacon. I don't know
Mhm.
if you actually want the beacon. Like it's 1 point per round,
True.
which will make a difference, but I think playing for it often is going to put you in a worse position so that you can't secure the other points.
Yeah, you have to overextend to get to that point. I could see that to some extent. Because yeah, I suppose then you're fighting over the midline to get the consoles
Yeah,
instead, which is definitely more defensible and less order intensive.
for sure.
Yeah, very cool.
I'll be interested to see how next wave stacks up going forward as people get more used to what they need to expect from it. Because
Hmm.
like I do think that some portion of my success was dependent on the fact that people don't know what to play against. They're
Sure.
going in a
Yeah, I
little
was.
bit blind.
Yeah. I was actually going to ask, like, how much did you feel like that contributed? Was raw power versus just unfamiliarity?
So, like I mentioned, I deployed Patroclus as a third Wraith 3 games,
Right.
and
Right.
no one batted an eye. Um,
Yeah.
Achilles is just Achilles. Like that is going to be strong, especially with the discount they gave him.
Hmm.
Um, it is a little tough just list building still because you don't have the bottom end.
Right.
So once I take Achilles and Tusser, the rest of the list is. I mean, I've got Patroclus and a Contrabandolero as my other pieces in that list. So
Right.
you
It's
need
not
to take
without teeth, but yeah,
and you need Patroclus or Pandora for chain of command because Achilles is very obviously the lieutenant.
yeah,
I'll be
yeah.
curious to see how
Always
lists
know
work out and how people handle next wave in general.
for sure. Yeah, they've been really interesting to play, and so I've definitely enjoyed kind of experimenting with them. Yeah, definitely kind of. It feels kind of like fumbling around a bit right now.
I could see that, yeah.
But yeah, I think we're just about ready to transition to final thoughts then. But before that, I do want to quickly say thank you to our patrons. You guys help make the show possible by covering equipment upgrades or replacements, uh, software subscriptions, hosting, all of that good stuff. So thank you so much for what you contribute to the show. And if others of you listening are interested and willing to join with that, you can find us on patreon.com/metachemistry, and we offer some benefits to show our gratitude, such as early access to episodes, some private areas on the Discord, final vote and polls, and things like that. And as far as the Discord goes, that is freely open otherwise, besides those couple channels. And we'd love to have you. So if you want more places to chat Infinity, you can find that link in the show notes and meet us there. And also as an added perk, if a US address, you can join in for the Mo Games discount coupon that we mentioned at the top and get entered for that raffle every month. So with that said, Ben, any final thoughts on Arizona Armageddon or Next Wave in kind of larger scope that, uh, or anything else that you think that would be good to pass on to listeners who are trying to prep for their events with Next Wave or not, and just trying to improve their play?
So, like, I came to have fun, and I had fun, so that's my advice for
Awesome.
prep. Show up to
For
tournaments.
sure.
Like, I know that, of course, some people are really there because they want to compete, and that's fun for them, but
Sure.
do what makes you happy. Have a good time. That's the point of this.
Absolutely.
I feel like I've covered a lot of my thoughts on Next Wave. It's lots of fun, feels kind of weird, cool pieces, kind of hard to list build, and there's
Yeah.
dinosaurs.
And there's answers. Yeah. I mean, what else needs to be said, right?
Yep.
That's awesome. Well, Ben, thank you again for coming on to the show and for talking about your experience. Um, these are always fun for us to kind of see people in other metas, people trying different things, and especially with Next Wave being so kind of experimental, everybody's still trying to kind of figure things out. It's fun to see that perspective as well. So thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, on behalf of Metachemistry, this has been Devin.
Ian.
And Ben. And that's the meta.